The first time I saw him, I spilled hot coffee all over my shirt like an idiot. My boss had just walked into the office, tall and terrifying in his tailored suit, while I looked like a clumsy intern who didn't even deserve to breathe the same air. That was the first sign I was hopelessly doomed. And yet, it wasn't just the fact that Ethan Blackwell was the most powerful alpha CEO in Manhattan. It was that every time his piercing gray eyes locked on me, something inside me burned. I was just a beta, a nobody, an office worker who lived off instant noodles and carried discount cologne in his bag. Still, I wanted him. One night, that was all I let myself dream about. But desires in this world are dangerous, especially between alphas and betas. Ethan Blackwell wasn't the kind of man you simply wanted. He was the kind of man who owned entire industries, who had alphas and omegas alike bowing their heads at his presence. And me? I was a background character in his story, a replaceable face in a sea of employees. Except he noticed me, and that was where everything began to unravel. The day started like any other in our glass tower on Fifth Avenue. Phones rang nonstop, the faint buzz of printers filled the air, and I sat at my desk staring at numbers that blurred together. My coworkers gossiped about Ethan's return from his overseas trip, their voices lowered in reverence. He closed a billion-dollar deal in Tokyo. Did you see the pictures of him in Forbes? God, that jawline could cut glass. Imagine being his omega. You'd never work a day in your life. I smiled weakly, pretending their words didn't pierce. In Omegaverse society, everyone had their place. Alphas led, Omegas nurtured, and betas like me filled the in-between. We worked hard, got overlooked, and dreamed quietly. My dream was Ethan, but it was the kind of dream you kept locked away in a drawer you never opened. That morning, though, fate had other plans. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. Silence fell across the floor as Ethan Blackwell stepped in, exuding dominance like it was stitched into his suit. His scent strong, magnetic, unmistakably alpha rolled over the office in waves. People straightened in their chairs. Some lowered their gazes instinctively. I froze, and then his eyes found me. For a second too long, his gaze lingered. My heart thundered in my chest. Heat crawled up my neck, and I looked away, gripping my pen until my knuckles turned white. It didn't mean anything. CEOs don't look at betas. I was nothing to him. Just a file pusher who sometimes stayed late enough to clean up the break room. But later that day, when I dropped off quarterly reports in his office, he spoke to me. "You've been with the company 2 years, haven't you?" I stopped breathing. His voice was deep, smooth, and far too close. I nodded, unable to form words. "Your name is Noah Reed." The fact that he knew my name nearly knocked me off my feet. My tongue finally stumbled out a reply. "Why, yes, sir." His eyes narrowed slightly, curious, like he was trying to unravel something about me. "You work harder than most of the staff." I swallowed. "I just do my best." A ghost of a smirk curved his lips, but it wasn't cruel. If anything, it was almost proving. My stomach twisted. I excused myself quickly, but that night, lying in my cramped apartment, I couldn't shake the way he'd said my name, like he already owned it. The days that followed grew stranger. Ethan started noticing me more. He asked for my input during meetings when he never acknowledged betas before. He'd stop by my desk casually, leaning on the edge as though it were the most natural thing in the world. My coworkers whispered, speculated, envied. I told myself it meant nothing. He was an alpha. He could have any omega he wanted. Betas weren't supposed to be desired. We were supposed to blend into the background, invisible unless needed. And yet one evening, long after most employees had left, I found myself still at my desk, squinting at spreadsheets. The soft click of expensive shoes echoed across the floor. I looked up. "Ethan, you work late," he said simply. My pulse raced. "Deadlines." He studied me for a moment, then glanced at the empty office. "You shouldn't be alone here this late." I laughed weakly. "I'm used to it. No one's waiting for me at home." Something flickered in his eyes, then something sharp, unreadable. He stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. That doesn't make it right. My mouth went dry. Why do you care? For the first time, he hesitated. His jaw tightened. And then, in a voice lower than I'd ever heard, he said, "Because I notice you." The world tilted. Betas didn't get noticed. Not like this. My chest ached with something that felt dangerously close to hope. But I forced a laugh, trying to protect myself. "You shouldn't. Don't say you're just anything." He cut me off sharply. His gaze pinned me and I felt stripped bare. "You're Noah Reed. You're not replaceable." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But belief was dangerous. That night I dreamed of him. His hands on me. His lips against mine. His voice murmuring my name in the dark. I woke up aching, ashamed, and more desperate than ever. Days blurred. Weeks passed. And every time he looked at me, every time his voice wrapped around my name, the tension grew unbearable. Until finally it snapped. It was raining the night it happened. I stayed late again, running final reports. The storm outside rattled the windows, and the city below gleamed with wet reflections. I thought I was alone until Ethan appeared in the doorway of the office, his suit jacket damp, his hair tousled in a way that made my stomach twist. "You should go home," he said softly. "I can finish this." My voice was thin, unsteady. He stepped inside, shutting the door behind him. Silence stretched, broken only by the patter of rain. And then, suddenly, he crossed the room in 3 strides, bracing his hands on my desk, leaning down until his scent wrapped around me. "Do you know how long I've been fighting this?" His voice was a growl now, rough with something primal. I froze. My body trembled. "Fighting? What?" "You." His eyes burned into mine. "Wanting you." My heart stopped. For a moment, I thought I'd imagined it. But his hand lifted, fingers brushing my jaw, tender and reverent. The strongest alpha in New York touching me like I was something fragile. "I can't," I whispered. "I'm a beta. You deserve an omega who, I don't care." His words cut through my protest. "I don't want anyone else." The dam inside me shattered. All the longing, all the nights of silent craving, all the self-denial, I couldn't hold it back anymore. I surged forward, closing the space between us, and when his lips crashed against mine, it was like setting fire to everything I thought I knew. The kiss was desperate, hungry, years of restraint burning away in seconds. His hand tangled in my hair, mine clutched at his shirt, and the world outside ceased to exist. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. I wasn't background. I was seen, desired, wanted, and it terrified me. The days after that kiss were a blur of stolen glances and reckless desire. For a moment, it felt like I was living in a dream. Ethan would find reasons to keep me in his office longer. Our conversations veiled with unspoken hunger. But reality had a way of catching up fast. Whispers spread. Alphas at his level were expected to marry strategically, to strengthen their dynasties with omega unions. A beta like me? I was a scandal waiting to happen. The pressure didn't take long to arrive. One morning, I overheard the board of directors in the hallway. "He's distracted. Worse's lowering himself. A beta of all things? This cannot continue." The words cut deep. My place in the world was being thrown at me again. That night, when Ethan tried to pull me close, I stepped back. "This isn't right," I whispered, avoiding his eyes. His voice was sharp with frustration. "Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare walk away from this." "I'm protecting you," I said, choking on my own words. "Your name, your empire. You'll lose everything if people find out." "Then let me lose it," he growled. "Because none of it matters without you." But I couldn't believe him then. My insecurities as a beta ran too deep. So I left his office, left him standing there with fury and heartbreak carved into his features. The weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. I went through the motions at work, avoiding his gaze, shrinking into invisibility once more. Ethan stopped coming by my desk, stopped saying my name like it was something precious. The distance between us was unbearable, but I convinced myself it was necessary. until the day I almost lost him. A news headline broke across every screen in the office. CEO Ethan Blackwell rushed to hospital after car crash on West Side Highway. My blood turned cold. The world tilted. Before I knew it, I was sprinting out of the building, not caring about the looks, not caring about consequences. My only thought was him. When I reached the hospital, the receptionist tried to stop me, but somehow I slipped past, following the scent I knew so well. His room door was ajar, and I froze when I saw him. Ethan lay pale against white sheets, bandages at his temple, tubes attached to his arm. For a man who always carried power like armor, he looked so heartbreakingly human. I collapsed into the chair beside his bed, grabbing his hand. My tears soaked the sheets. "You idiot," I whispered. "How dare you scare me like this? Don't you know my voice cracked? Don't you know I love you?" And then, to my shock, his fingers squeezed mine. His eyes fluttered open slowly, gray and piercing even in weakness. "Say it again," he rasped. My chest ached. "I love you, Ethan." The faintest smile tugged at his lips. "Good. Because I've been waiting to hear it." His recovery was slow, but during those weeks, everything between us shifted. I stayed by his side, bringing him coffee he pretended to hate, reading him reports he stubbornly tried to check himself. He'd catch my hand when I tried to leave, murmuring, "Stay, Noah," and I always did. The scandal we feared? It never fully materialized. Some board members grumbled, but Ethan silenced them with his iron will. He didn't care about appearances anymore. He cared about me. One evening, when he was strong enough to stand on the balcony of his penthouse, he pulled me against his chest. The city glowed beneath us, alive and endless. "You were wrong," he said softly, his breath warm against my ear. "Loving you doesn't make me weaker. It makes me invincible." I swallowed hard, leaning into him. "I was afraid you'd regret me." He tilted my chin up, his eyes steady and sure. "Noah Reed, you are the only thing in my life I'll never regret. You're not just a beta. You're mine." The final wall inside me crumbled. I kissed him with everything I had, every ounce of love and longing I'd buried for so long. And this time there was no fear, only certainty. Months later, people still whispered. Some still didn't understand. But we didn't care. We built something real, something stronger than status or biology. Ethan didn't hide. Mayhay held my hand at company galas, introduced me as his partner, looked at me with pride in his eyes. And me? I finally believed I was worthy of it. Worthy of love, of being chosen, of being seen. Our story wasn't the fairy tale people expected of an alpha and omega. It was something different, something truer. Two men from opposite sides of society, finding each other despite every obstacle. And at night, when Ethan pulled me close in our shared bed, his heartbeat steady against my back, I finally understood. I was never just a beta. I was his, and he was mine, forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.